Hi boys and girls, today we're going to look at a text called Go Wild. And if you look at the front cover of this text, you're probably knowing what genre it is. What are you thinking? Do you think this is a fictional story or a nonfiction story? If you said nonfiction story, you are correct because we see a photograph. And we know when we see photographs, usually the text is going to be nonfiction. So remember about nonfiction, you're going to learn information. Nonfiction books tell us facts and gives us details about information, as well as could tell us about real people, places, things, or events. So let's take a picture walk of the text Go Wild. So on the front cover, you see a tiger. And I want you to notice as we take this picture walk, what each of these animals might be doing. That'll be our focus today. So here we see, what's this animal, boys and girls? Here we have a hippopotamus, and look what it's doing. It's eating grass. And next we see a squirrel. Do you see something in that squirrel's paws? What big cat do we call this? If you said cheetah, you are right. Look at it running real fast. Next, we see a frog. And look what that frog's doing with its long tongue. Do you know what this animal's called? Yep, it's an ostrich. And it's pecking at the ground. Next, do you know what kind of turtle that is? Look at its very bright colors. That is called a painted turtle. And last, we see a nice big bear. And look what it's doing. It's catching a fish. And look where it is now. In someone's tent. Uh-oh, we know that's not good. So I hope you thought about each of those animals and what they were doing, because that's going to be our focus today. Today, when we read Go Wild, we're going to focus on the main idea. And if you remember, main idea means what the text is mostly about. And then in another video, we're going to take a look at the key details. And these go together, boys and girls. That's why you see I have an umbrella here. And the key details are underneath that umbrella, because the key details, meaning the information in the text, have to make sense with the main idea. They have to fit together. They have to go together. So I want us to, as I read, to really focus on what this text is mostly all about. You might have got a good clue from our picture walk. That's why picture walks can be very important to take to help you focus on what you're going to be reading about. So before we read, we have some sight words that are within our text, and there's an activity with these sight words, so make sure you do that. So I'm just going to introduce them to you, and then you'll hear them as I read the story aloud. So this word is warm. You can repeat it after me. Here's a sentence for warm. Is it warm outside? Our next word, more. Good. Here's a sentence for more. Can I have more to eat? Our next word is find. I can't find my pencil. I remember hearing a lot of that. Next word is food. We eat a lot of different food. Our next word is over. Good. Please step over the puddle. And start. I need to start my homework. And we got them all. So those words are going to be in our story. So make sure that you do the activity that says sight word activity 1 to practice those words. All right, so let's focus on the main idea of our text Go Wild. Animals need food to live and grow, but all animals don't eat the same things. Some big animals, such as hippos, eat plants. A hippo can eat more than 130 pounds of grass. Oh, so that's why it's in the grass there eating its food. I want you, after each animal, to summarize what you just learned. Now that's a big word for first grade. So I want you, summarize just means saying it in your own words. So if I was summarizing what I just learned about a hippo, I would say, a hippo eats a lot of grass. So let's do that with our next page about a squirrel. Take a listen. Some small animals eat plants too. A squirrel eats loads of plant seeds. They like nuts and grains. A squirrel can smell a nut and find it even in the snow. Wow, let's summarize. Let's say something in our own words that we just learned about a squirrel. Go ahead. What I just learned is that squirrels eat loads of plant seeds. Let's talk about this big cat. Some animals hunt and eat other animals. First, this big cat runs fast to catch its meal. Then it will use its claws and teeth to eat. Summarize what you just learned about a cheetah. Put it in your own words, something you just learned. Mrs. Cedar would say that she just learned that some animals hunt for their food. They hunt other animals. The next animal is our frog. Frogs and toads seek insects and snails to eat. A big frog goes after mice too, but frogs and toads have no teeth, so they must gulp down their meal. Go ahead and summarize something you learned about a frog. Say it in your own words. Mrs. Cedar would say that frogs and toads eat insects and snails. Let's look at our next animal, ostrich. Some animals eat both plants and animals. An ostrich eats seeds and leaves, but it will search all over for insects, snakes, and lizards as well. Go ahead and summarize. So I would say that an ostrich can even eat snakes and lizards. Next, a painted turtle eats plants, fish, and frogs. This reptile lives in lakes and ponds. It likes the cold water at first, but then it will come up on land to get warm. Go ahead and summarize what you've learned about a painted turtle. I would say that a turtle eats plants, fish, and frogs. A bear may start its day by eating plants. Next, it may go fishing in a lake. After that, a bear may go hunting. Then it may even go to a campsite. Most bears will eat plants, animals, and people food. Is there any food left here to eat? If so, a bear will find it. In the wild, animals find food in lots of places. So summarize what you just learned about a bear. I learned that a bear can eat fish and can eat plants and sometimes people food. Good job summarizing, boys and girls. So I hope you were focusing on that main idea and what this text is mostly about. So let's go ahead and take a closer look at that. So before we look at the main idea of that text, let's take a look at what does that mean, main idea, again. So here's a simple example for you. So here I have main idea, but I have something covered up. We're going to try to figure that out. So we just read the text. Now our job is to find what it's mostly all about. So here's the text of this sheet here. And you can see I have a rainbow up here. So here's the text. I'll read it to you. It's quick. Red is a color in the rainbow. Orange is a color in the rainbow. Yellow is a color in the rainbow. Green is a color in the rainbow. Blue is a color in the rainbow. Purple is a color in the rainbow. So that's a simple text. So what is that text mostly all about? What do you hear that's common about everything we just read? So what do you think? Go ahead and tell or say what you think the main idea is and see if you're right. So, if you said that the main idea would be the colors in the rainbow, you are correct, because that was what the text was mostly all about. So now let's apply that to our text Go Wild. So in Go Wild, we read about those wild animals, and they were all doing something very similar. So I have 3 choices up here. Only one of these choices makes sense. So let's see which one would make the most sense. Animals live in the wild. Is that what the text was mostly about? There was animals and they were in the wild, but was it just all about them being in the wild? Or is there a more focus? Let's see. Animals do many things. That does make sense in our text. Were there something more focused on what they were doing? They do many things. Let's take a look at number 3. Animals in the wild eat many different things. Does that one make sense for what our text was mostly about? Think about each of those animals and what they were doing. Only one of these is correct. Can you pick the right one? Is it 1, 2, or 3? Go ahead and shout it out. If you said number 3, you are correct. Animals in the wild eat many different things. Now let's look why that's correct. So let's go back to the beginning. So here we had that hippopotamus. What was it doing? It was eating lots of grass. And then we've learned that squirrels can eat plant seeds and grains and nuts. Here we learned that big cats, such as the cheetah, can hunt other animals to eat. Frogs can eat insects and snails. We learned that ostriches can eat insects, snakes, and lizards. And even the turtle can eat plants, fish, and frogs. And how about that bear? We learned that it can catch fish to eat, as well as eat plants, and sometimes people food. So they were all about eating many different things. So that is why that statement is the correct one for our main idea. So good job today, boys and girls. So what attached to this video, you're going to see 3 sentences. These ones right here. What I want you to do on the seesaw, you're going to see on the side 3 little dots. If you click on those dots, they're going to bring up, it'll say shapes. Click on the shapes, and I want you to pick the star, and I want you to star the main idea of our text, Go Wild, and then submit it to your teacher. Thanks for listening today, boys and girls.